Bernard, if you look at Leinster, first of all, they're now 20 games unbeaten in all competitions, and plenty of those have been without a host of their star players as well. It's
incredible consistency. Joe Schmidt seems to be able to dive down into the A squad, who are also in a BNI Cup semi-final, and these guys come in and just play as if the internationals aren't away. I thought it was great for that game that Ian Madigan actually was able to place kick, because that's a huge part of his progression, and he kicked very well. Obviously without Fergus McFadden, Johnny Sexton, Easton Siwa, he doesn't really get a chance to kick very often, but if he's going to become an international out half, I think that's a part of his game. He's got to be able to practice week in, week out at game level.
But if you look at Ulster, Victor, are they nearly the real form team at the moment when you look at the performances and the tries that they're scoring?
Yeah, I mean, they've been building since the start of the season. If you look at Leinster, yeah, they have coped well with the year, be it the World Cup or the Six Nations, and great to see Luke Fitzgerald back and O'Malley playing so well. However, the internationals are going to have to slot back in when it comes to quarter-final stages. But certainly Ulster, for a point of view, they have a full complement almost, and they'll be a big threat to Munster now quarter-final time.
The whole selection thing in Ulster is very interesting. When Ruan Pienaar came over first a year and a half ago, we were told he is coming over exclusively as a scrum half, and that there were no implications for Ian Humphreys. Well, clearly there are. And Paul Marshall, who's was shoved aside when Pienaar arrived, is now showing just how good he really is, and that's a really, really good half-back combo they have there.
Okay. Victor, Munster are another team who've coped well without a lot of the big players over the last few weeks, but they are 5 weeks away from their Heineken Cup quarter-final. We're being told Paul O'Connell 3 to 6 weeks he's going to be out, Conor Murray 3 to 4 weeks. What sort of a situation does that put them in?
Well, of course, it's obviously worrying, you know, but the great thing is they have a home game, the quarter-final. It's a situation where you know, they have a huge depth to that squad that hasn't been unearthed just yet, you know, and sometimes when players are to come through, it's forced through injury, and unfortunately that's the situation at the moment. But you'd have to have full confidence in some of the players they have right through the back line, the likes of Felix Jones, and if you look at Mick O'Driscoll there getting his 200 cap for Munster, what a stalwart. But again, behind him there's a lot of second rows, back rows to come through.
I bet they'd love to have Paul O'Connell though for that quarter-final. I mean, he's out 3 to 6 weeks, they say, 5 weeks away. What about game time coming up to it? Yeah,
that's going to be an issue. They're playing Leinster ahead of that, and they want to get him back in time for that. I guess he's of such importance to them that they'll just put him straight back in if they have to. But the optimum would be A, to get him fit, and B, to get him fit enough to play in that game ahead of the quarter-final. But I'd be amazed if he doesn't fetch up for that.
What about Conor Murray, and given that the way Tomás O'Leary has been playing the last few weeks, Bernard?
Yeah, I thought Tomás had a good game against the Dragons. You know, it's been very frustrating for him. Obviously not getting any game time, and obviously he's been linked with Perpignan, and that looks like it could be off at the moment. Him being brought into the Irish squad is obviously going to help convince him to sign on for Munster again, you know, maybe next year and the year after, and keep him in Ireland, which would be hugely positive. With Stringers on the loan, obviously in England as well, they have 3 very experienced scrum halves, and you know, they can cope probably without Murray and O'Connell better than other teams could. You know, there will be a big loss, but they certainly have backup players who can come in and do a job.
Okay.